Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee. Welcome to another Virtual Airline Pilot review video. We're back in Europe, we're in Southern Europe this time, and we're in Faro in Portugal, and you're looking at Faro International Airport in Portugal, Lima Papa Foxtrot Romeo. This is a new payware scenery by Rdpresets, version 1 for both the PC and Xbox versions of Flight Simulator 2020. Currently, it's been updated to version 1.2 with a few fixes, so you may find that that's available at the moment on Sim Market. The download is 1.25 gig and it installs at just over 5 gig, 5.14 gigabytes, currently available, as I've said, from Sim Market. The price, €21.59, which equates to roughly $23.67, or £18.46 UK. As ever, US and UK prices are all estimates from the euro, and they do include tax or VAT, which of course may vary depending on your country of purchase. Now, in order to use this effectively, you will need to disable the default Asobo Faro Airport. So if you go into the content manager, do a search on Lpfr, you'll be able to find it and just disable it. Those of you who have the TropicalSim version of this product, of this scenery, will also have had to do the same thing. So let's look at the list of features. We have a realistic replica of Lpfr Faro Airport, completely custom modelling and texturing with PBR textures on the whole airport. Have full custom 3D interior including 3D passengers, and over 1,000 plus clutter objects on the apron and surrounding areas. Realistic and functioning visual docking guidance system, and you'll need the plug-in for that, which I believe is installed when you install this scenery. Custom ground textures, faithfully recreating the asphalt differences like in reality. Performance optimizations, accurate night lighting, custom taxiway signage, ground traffic, and much more. So I've had a good look over this, and as I said, I also have the TropicalSim version, and obviously I've also looked at the default. So it'll be interesting to see how this payware, this new one, measures up, since we now have 3 versions of the same airport for Flight Sim 2020. So let's go and have a look at some history. So some history then. Faro Gargo Coutinho International Airport, Lima Papa Foxtrot Romeo, is a public use airport owned and operated by the Vinci Group. Located some 3 miles or 4 kilometers west of the city of Faro in Portugal, the airport is the main gateway to Faro and the Portuguese Algarve tourist vacation spot. The airport opened in July 1965 and serves much of southwestern Spain, with some 9 million passengers using the airport in 2019. Since 2022, the airport has been named after Gargo Coutinho, a local famous Portuguese geographer, cartographer, naval officer, historian and aviation pioneer. Since its opening in 1966, Faro Airport has had 2 major developments: the new passenger terminal building in 1989 and its enlargement in 2001. Faced with growing traffic demand and passenger safety and satisfaction needs, the development plan for 2009 to 2013 saw Faro Airport undergo extensive improvements to the runway and infrastructure, as well as widespread renovation of the airport terminal and commercial areas. Additional shops and waiting areas were constructed as part of the expansion. In Phase 1, the new aircraft stands and taxiways are planned to be constructed. A new instrument landing system was installed at the runway, along with installation of a glide reflecting mirror. Security area at the runway was also expanded. Phase 2 involved the renovation of the passenger terminal and the improvement of the landside access. The airport features 22 stands, of which 16 are remote, with 60 check-in desks and 36 boarding gates. In September 2022, the commissioning of a solar power plant with a capacity of 3 megawatts was announced, enabling the production of some 30% of the airport's electricity needs. This would result in a reduction of CO2 emissions by more than 1,500 tonnes per year, which is quite substantial. So there's some history for you. Those of you that have owned TropicalSim version or the default version can probably see right away they've done some extensive work here over and above those, particularly with the land and the sea as well, and the whole thing looks pretty good actually. So let's talk runways. So Runways. FARO Airport operates a single runway 2810 measuring 8,169 feet or 2,490 metres in length. It's made from asphalt. The airport lies at an elevation of 24 feet or 7.3 metres and is located within the standard GMT UTC time zone, basically the same as the UK. Like many European cities, FARO does indeed observe daylight saving time, and so is currently 1 hour ahead of GMT UTC, which puts it currently on the same time zone as the UK, because we've also gone 1 hour ahead of GMT UTC here in the summer of 2023. Runway 28, and we're looking down the throat of it now, features high intensity runway lighting, high intensity airfield lighting system version 2, centerline lighting, touchdown zone lighting. They also have a high-speed turn-off option and precision approach path indicators on the left side, and you can see all that there. This runway also features an instrument landing system with Z and Y options, which is certified to Category 2 low visibility operations. Runway also features RMP and VOR approach options too. So let's go check out the other end, runway 10. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 10. And as per the other end, pretty much high intensity runway lighting, high intensity airfield lighting system, centerline lighting. You also have high speed turn-offs. No touchdown zone lighting mentioned, but there is touchdown zone lighting there, you can see it. And they also have precision approach path indicators, this time on the right hand side. This runway also has a standard instrument landing system with Z and Y options, and also has RNP and VOR approach options too. So both runways well done in the sim, pretty much everything as per the charts, except that runway 10 has gained touchdown zone lighting, but which is no problem at all. Anything that helps you land in the low light certainly is good. I have no problem with that at all. So that does it for runways. Let's go and do a jetway test now. Okay, so Jetways, here we are again at FARO stand 318. We've got the Jetway here. Let's do a connection and see how it works. Good, that looks good. The stairs going into the concrete, but the wheels move. Will the Jetway reach the door? Should do. Yeah, it does, but it goes right the way through the skin. That's pretty bad really. The rubber should be backwards, or should be retracted before it reaches the door. I mean, it looks quite good from that side, but like I said, realistically the Jetway should have the rubber retracted before it matches onto the door. Let's see if we can have a look inside. I mean, to be honest, that looks pretty fair. Let's open the door, see what the door looks like when it opens. But that's pretty good. The door fits within the Jetway side, but the Jetway's fairly closely blocked. If I just move back slightly, you can see there we can't see. It only takes a little bit. But actually that's not bad at all. Right, in almost all of the Jetways there's this delay before it actually starts moving. And as you can see, the rubber hasn't retracted and it's gone through the door. I mean, it's good enough, I guess, really, but really could do better with the... and of course it's jerked backwards. So yeah, animated Jetways, but they're not the best. But they actually work, so there you go. Okay, as usual, we'll start with a daytime tour. We'll start at this end of the runway. I just wanted to come out here and let you have a look at the foliage and the water. I mean, this all looks really, really nice. So we're going to track airside in front of us and have a look at things along the way. So I love this terrain. Some of it's default, some of it's been slightly enhanced, but it just looks nice. So there you can see the airside fence to the right hand side, and below us now, let's go a little bit lower, windsock there to the left. Taxiway is really good, and the ground markings are pretty good too. Nicely blends in with the ground. There on the left you can see the huge solar array that we talked about in the description, and some work that's going on there, which is quite nicely done. A couple of buildings, one or two jutting into the road there, but nothing really seriously. It's come down a little lower. So here you've got the, I won't say abandoned, it's the old 727 sitting there. Some more work going on. There's some buses, lots of ground clutter here. And the concrete looks good, doesn't it? Look really good. Lots of markings, as indeed they should be. Slow this down a little bit. It just look good. Air cargo there to the left. There's a control tower, which I believe is modelled inside. We will have a look at some point. In fact, let's have a look now while we're here. So here's the view from outside. As you can see, it is indeed modelled inside. It looks quite pleasant from outside. And there's the view inside. You've got controllers sitting at their screens, which is really nice addition. And the controller models are pretty good indeed. There, looking at the lower section, you can see that's been modelled to a reasonable extent too. Includes a staircase and various positions that with displays that have been removed here. It all looks pretty good. And there's a nice external view. Very, very nice indeed. So let's continue the airside tour. As you can see, there's some nice modelling on the buildings, even the ones that really, so I hesitate to say don't matter because they do, but the ones that aren't necessarily part of the terminal structure. So here we go across the stands. Again, some really nice weathering on the building, on the ground, on the ramp. Ramp looks really good. Here's my aircraft parked on 318. I mean, it just looks good, doesn't it? The only anomaly there is the hoods are extended, which they shouldn't be. But that's something that probably could be fixed. So the terminal looks really good. The ramp areas where you will park up look really good. Oh, Ryanair again. We can't get rid of them, can we? So again, some of the remote stands, again the ground detail looks amazing. So let's head out across some more of the remote stands and out to the runway area. Again, more Ryanair buses. And as you can see, the detail is really good. Roadways, taxiways, all properly 3D modelled and textured. Nothing left to chance as such. A couple more remote stands over here. And the balancing ponds there on the left. It's a water treatment plant, isn't it? But as you can see, everything nicely modelled and crisp and clear, and it all looks pretty good. So we crossed the runway. On the other side of the runway there's the fire station. Slow down a bit here. Again, the modelling is good. Complete with the watchtower, the engines, very, very good. Very impressed with that. So we cross back over the runway and you get to see some of the taxiway signage, which looks really good. No complaints at all really about that. Haven't seen anything go onto the runway, which is a good thing. So let's just cross into Landside and have a look at what they've done. Again, we're looking at neat, crisp, clean vehicles. Ground textures look great. Here's the rental car agency area where you pick up your cars. Car models are good. Parking spaces are correctly modelled. And as you can see, everything's pretty fluid. I'm not getting any sort of jumps or stutters. Looks very good. As you head back towards the terminal, as you can see, the roads have been done nicely. Very nicely done. I did mention to Rdpresets, one of their other sceneries, you see they've got these road signs, overboards on the road, but nothing written on them. You kind of think, look, they've done the big sign over there to the left, but they've not put anything on the boards, which is kind of strange. However, looks great. I mean, look at loads of buses and loads of bits and pieces here, and yet no real drop in frame rate that I can see or detect. Here we come to the exit area, or rather the entrance to the airport. There's a petrol station on the left, nicely modelled. Windows are parallax there too. So we've got signage on the right there as you go into the airport. And now when I looked at these guys, initially I thought that there were textures missing, but apparently they're not. This is how they look at the real airport. So there you go. Quite what they are and what their meaning is, I'm not sure. If anybody is a regular at FARO Airport and can tell me what they are and why they're there, let me know in the comments. I'd be very pleased to hear. Okay, so let's get in towards the terminal, have a look at the road system and see the terminal landside first. So you've got this slope here. A couple of the cars have sunk into the concrete there. So that's a terrain modelling issue, but other than that, and you've got cars floating as well. But I'm not really going to worry too much about that. The whole thing looks pretty good. It really does look impressive. So now we take a little landside tour past the terminal. Again, nicely modelled, very, very nicely modelled. More road signs with nothing written on them, but that's no problem at all. Now you look to the right, you can see people inside the buildings. We'll have a look inside in a minute. So a couple of buses, landside, but not much else. No people standing landside. They've obviously decided to just do what they can do. But there you've got signage as well, which is really clear. Little restaurant area here. One or two people sitting outside there, which is good. And some seats for people to sit on. It all looks very pleasant indeed. So let's pop inside. So here are check-in. Lines of people waiting to check in for their flights. All looks pretty good, the figures look great, but unfortunately no check-in agents to check them in. However, that's okay. So let's just take a run down the terminal Landside. Well, it does look quite nice, they've done a nice job, it looks pretty impressive. Couple of cafes there. And here we've got check-in again at the other end. And as before, no check-in staff. But that's fine, it's been done quite nicely. So here's the area where my expertise is. This is a security check. Very nice. Again, minimal modelling, no security staff, just a few people. Probably to keep the frame rate down. But all looks good. So here's the view airside, in the airside departure lounge that goes all the way along there. Again, got a few people, some seats, minimal modelling, but obviously just to keep the frame rate down, but it does look quite nice. And just a little tour along the airside part, just to look at some of the people, some people there waiting to go to board, and some people sitting down. Very pleasant indeed, no problems at all really. So while we're here, let's have a look at the view from the flight deck during the daytime. This is what you see when you pull up. The view from the captain's side. And looking through the first officer's window. So it all looks pretty good, not going to be a problem there really. So as you can see, the airport looks pretty good during the day. Signage looks great, there's the name of the airport on the right. The ground markings are excellent. Both airside and landside, it looks pretty acceptable. Really not a lot to complain about really. It's a nice, well modelled airport. Lots of clutter, lots of stuff for you to be enjoying here. When you pull up, looks great. Looks really, really good. There you can see the airport in all its glory. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, so we've seen the airport pretty much during the day. Let's drop the night time, well, let's drop it down to sunset now and have a look and see what it looks like. There's the VOR station, by the way. Okay, it's dusk. It's 10 to 9 in the evening, local time. Remember, this is the summer. It's late June 2023 in the Northern Hemisphere, and you can see the lights have just come on. There we are looking out into the east towards the bay. And a really nice shot there looking towards the west. The sun's coming down below the horizon. So let's get down to the ramp, have a look and see what you're met with at this time of the day. Okay, so here's my stand 318, my aircraft positioned on it. There you can see the airport sign and you can see in through the glass. All looks pretty good. Again, no Asobo globes floating all over the place. You've got light being provided by the correct light source. Coming up on the control tower. Quick look inside and you can see it's lit up and it looks fine. Looks absolutely wonderful. So let's tour the airside ramp, and you can see green centerline lights onto the right there and blue airfield edge lights. Plenty of light on the ramp here. I suspect it gets brighter when we go to full darkness. But you know, from a pilot's point of view, no problem at all really here. Stands are well lit, even the remote stands. And here we come across to some of the remote stands. Here you get a good look at some of the ground signage and the ground lighting. All looks pretty impressive. And again, I haven't seen anything enter the runway, which is good. Some nice subtle lighting, it looks quite pleasant. And let's just go landside of the main terminal, have a look at some of the lighting here. You can see the terrain issue here, this ridge. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be, but we've got a couple of cars that have sunk into it. But other than that, I don't see any real problems. But visually, this is very pleasant. It looks good, and they've made good use of the capabilities of the simulator here. It does look nice. Very nice indeed. Yep, very pleasant. So there you go, a quick look at Dusk. Let's drop it down to night time now and see how much the lighting comes up. Okay, 10:30 at night, local time, and as you can see, lighting has indeed come up. You've also got the green centerline lights and the blue airfield edge lights, so taxiing in on a night landing shouldn't really be a problem, nor should parking. There you are, looking out towards the threshold of 10 in the distance with the moon. Control tower on the right hand side, some more remote stands, and there's the threshold of runway 28. So here's a close look at the stand. Again, there really is no problem here. The lighting is very, very nice. It's all been properly done. My only real complaint, like I said, is these Jetway hoods. They should be back. The aircraft thing moves to the aircraft and then they go across. As you saw in the Jetway test, they actually penetrate the aircraft quite badly. But that's the only real gripe that I've got here, to be honest. A quick look at the detail through the windows there. There you can see our passengers sitting in their airside lounges. Got the airport sign up above there. Everything's pretty weathered and textured, which looks good. Very good. And a couple of shots landside. Here's one view. Lighting is really quite pleasant. We've now got a few more Asobo globes floating around here. But aside from that, it looks pretty good. There's another shot there looking inside. And this is interesting. This is check-in, and it looks really dark. You've got the overhead lighting here, but behind the check-in desk it looks pretty dark. This looks pretty sort of a bit strange, but anyhow, there you go. That's just thought I'd show you. And looking the other direction, you've got the same issue, and you've also got a bit of grass coming through the bottom here. As you can see, in terms of ambience and atmosphere, it looks quite pleasant. Really no problem at all, really. And there's that view looking down the bus lane. Quick look at some of the signs, and again you can see through the windows there into the seating area. And a little look at the cafe. So looking across the landside there, you know, the lighting looks great. The tungsten effect as well looks pretty good. You can see it's a kind of a yellowish light. Lots of tungsten lamps used at many airports around the world. It just looks very pleasant. No problem at all with that. It looks great. And in the other direction there you see a plethora of buses. And again, the fact that they've modelled the landside area in 3D with all the parking spaces for me is a big plus. Very, very good. And there's another look across the airside ramp that's nicely lit. Got a nice effect there on the control tower. Sort of the red glow and the blue on the sign looks really good. And another high level shot there showing you some of the vehicles moving about on the taxiways airside, and to the right you can see the fire station's been nicely lit up as well. Let's bring up the dawn quickly. So for just 6:15 in the morning local time, you can see the sun's about to rise over the horizon, and the lights will go out in about 3 or 4 minutes. But all looks pretty pleasant there. And looking in the other direction, everything looks fine. It's very, very nice. No real complaints at all. Okay, so there we go, folks. It's now just after 9 o'clock in the morning, and time to give you my conclusions and thoughts here. Is it better than the default? I think it is. Is it better than TropicalSim? That's a harder one to say. I do think it is slightly better. Prices are comparable. I don't really see an awful lot of difference in price. I think you'd be pleased with either. My only real gripe about this scenery is the Jetway hoods are extended and they'll cut through your aircraft. That needs to be fixed. As I said, they've released 2 updates for this scenery since it was put out. It's now in version 1.2, which is the version you're looking at and the version they sent me for review. And it's great. It visually looks good. I just like the way it sits. The ambience and the texturing is all really good. They've taken time, landside and airside. They've not gone mad, but it does look good, and you'll get what you expect to see when you land or take off here. And I think that's the important thing for most simmers. Is it worth the price? It's probably a little high. Coming in at €21.59, it's probably nearer sort of 18 or 19 euros for me. But I'm not really going to quibble too much about that. I believe this probably is the best version, but not by much. It just, ambience-wise, it just looks good. And when you fly in here, it's probably the nearest you'll get to feeling as though you're actually flying into FARO properly. TropicalSim's version was good, but there were some issues with it. Even they still had issues, even if you disable the default Asobo version that came with the update. The TropicalSim one I found still had a few issues. This one fits perfectly with that default scenery disabled, and so for me it wins. But yeah, very nice airport, very well done. Kudos to Rdpresets, they've done a nice job. I think some of us probably will balk at the fact that they've done yet another airport, I mean there's 3 versions out now. One of them works, the default Asobo looks pretty good. TropicalSim doesn't work that well since the update that Asobo put out, but this one does, and this one really completes all. So this is the best, I think, of the 3 versions, and quite a lot going for it, I think. So there you go, folks. Faro International Airport in Portugal, down on the Algarve. Lima Papa Foxtrot Romeo. This is a payware version by Rdpresets, and it's available for the PC and Xbox, which is a big plus as well. I know that Xbox users will be pleased, and it's good. We're looking at version 1.2, which is an update I think is available in SimMarket now. They don't normally take that long to update the files. Downloads at 1.25 gig and installs at 5.14 gig. Available from SimMarket. Currently at €21.59, which equates to $23.67 US, or £18.46 UK. As ever, those US and UK prices are all estimates from the euro, and they do include tax or VAT, which of course can vary depending on which country you're in when you make your purchase. It's a nice scenery. I thoroughly recommend it. Rdpresets are just getting better all the time. I would just like some of them and some other developers now to start thinking about some of the important airports in the world that aren't really done. And that's really something that needs to be looked at. So this is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, is signing off at the end of another review. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Thanks to all the subscribers I have at the moment. I'm pushing to get to 1,000. Love to hear your comments. I always try to respond to my viewers' comments, and hopefully you've enjoyed this, especially if you've been on the fence about it. I know it could well make people think when there's actually 3 versions of the same airport out, but I still think this is the best so far. So thanks guys, have a great week, have a nice weekend coming up, enjoy your flying, and I will see you in the next review or in the next adventure video. So take care, and bye for now.